Hey guys, and welcome back to Lesson on Coding. My name is Ryan Lesson. So in today's video, I will be showing you how to build a very highly scalable project setup with Angular 4 and Webpack. So I'll be showing you just some extra tips and tricks I use personally in my project setups to make it very highly configurable and available in many different environments. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so to get started with our project setup, we'll be starting this thing pretty much from scratch. So first things first, we're going to need to get all of our dependencies we need for our project. So let's load all of them. I'm going to be creating a package.json file. I'm going to quickly copy and paste over all of our dependencies. So in our dependencies, we'll be installing the things necessary for Angular to run. In our dev dependencies, we'll be using different things for Webpack, and we'll be using different things for testing. And again, this will come full circle throughout the entirety of this video. So we have all those things in there, and without any further ado, let's install them all. So I'm going to bring the terminal up here, and I'm going to run npm install. Okay, so now while that's installing, this is a great time for us to talk about TypeScript. So if you don't know what TypeScript is, it's a superset of JavaScript, and it's built by Microsoft, and the Angular team decided that they want Angular to be built with TypeScript. It gives a whole bunch of functionality to it, as you can guess, type safety. And one thing we got to realize is that Webpack, being a module bundle, only recognizes JS files. So to use it throughout our application, we need to convert these files from TypeScript down to JavaScript. So to do that, we're going to be creating a config file that most TS loaders understand and will use. Okay, so we're going to come in here. Now I'll be creating a TS config file. Oop, it's actually tsconfig.json. Sorry about that. Okay, and then I'm just going to quickly copy and paste over some boilerplate configuration settings. So real quick, we're just going to be converting our TS code because we're targeting JavaScript ES6. We're going to be converting it down to ES6. And we're just going to do a couple other things using CommonJS to handle our modules. And node module resolution is a common way to do that. Have these libs here. Awesome. Okay. So next up, if you may have guessed it, is that we also need a config file for Webpack to use. So we're going to come in here. We're going to create a Webpack config.js file. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste. What this is going to do is just going to require a file that we'll be creating later in our config folder called webpack.dev.js. Awesome. So when we run Webpack will get the config file and run that file. Awesome. So next thing, we will be thinking about testing. If we actually go to our package.json file, you will see that we have the Jasmine assertion library, and we also have Karma to run our test. So again, Karma needs a configuration file, so let's create a Karma configuration file. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy and paste over some other things. It's going to just basically do what we did in our Webpack config file. It's just going to require a file that we'll create later. Okay, awesome. So next thing up is let's talk about Webpack and how it works. So Webpack builds a dependency graph through an entry point for our whole application. It does this by looking at import statements. So it does this and it puts all of our application code into one big bundle. Okay, so this bundle, if we want to add cool stuff to it, like for example, what I love to use in my applications is hot module reload. If you don't know what hot module reload is, what it basically does is basically insert script tags into your application, and then basically it updates your code in real time, so you don't need to refresh the browser. So it makes developing a whole lot more fun. So the problem with that is we don't want to keep reloading the code every time. We don't want to keep refreshing it. And things that are static, we don't want to keep refreshing them because, again, Webpack could take a while to refresh things that are big. So for all of our static assets, we're going to put them into our separate bundle. So I'm going to be creating a quick vendor.ts file. And in our vendor.ts file, I'm going to be copy and pasting over all of our static stuff. So here's just a bunch of static stuff, things like Angular, like the Angular compiler and stuff like that, that won't change throughout our application. Awesome. Okay, so have all that. So next we're gonna create one more bundle, polyfills, and again, this is to set up environments and compiler code to be cross-browser and cross-platform compatible. Okay, there we go. Awesome. And so we also have this thing for process.env.env, which we'll be using for our node.env to set up the environment for our project, which we'll be getting to later. And this stuff here just sets up long error stack traces when we're running in development mode. Okay, awesome. Okay guys, so before we go in depth on our Webpack configuration, let's quickly scaffold out an Angular 4 application. So first things first, we're going to bootstrap Angular by building or by creating a main.ts file. I'm just going to copy and paste over some boilerplate bootstrap configurations. So here we go. And one thing to note here is we're actually enabling the hot module replacement that I alluded to earlier right here. Okay, so got that in there. Awesome. So next thing up is we're going to actually create a folder here. I'm going to call it app. Okay, so in our app folder, we'll be creating an app.component.ts file, and we'll also be creating app.module.ts file. Okay, so our module will basically hold our dependencies that our app.component file has access to. So let's come in here. I'm just going to quickly scaffold out the module. Oh, there it is. Okay, so got that in there, and then just to add a couple things to it, we will be adding in our imports, we will be also adding the browser module, which is essential for Angular to run in browsers. There we go. And also it's going to need access to where our main component is. So an app component, let's quickly scaffold out a component. Awesome, let's change some names here. Let's change this to app. Let's change this to app as well. And we're not going to be using SCSS, we're going to be using CSS, and we're just going to change it from name to app. Awesome, so let's come in here and create those two files that we're missing. .html, and then CSS. Okay, let's come in here. Let's just put in an h1 tag and be like, hello from the starter. Okay, gotcha. So got that in there. So go back to app.module. Let's declare it. Oops, excuse me. Let's declare it in our declarations. And let's also bootstrap it. So we're going to add bootstrap right here. Oop, if I can spell it correctly. And we're going to put in our app.component. So it knows our main component to do it to. We're going to quickly change this from feature to app module. Okay, there we go. Now we quickly scaffold out our Angular 4 application. So now we're going to dive more in depth on our Webpack configuration. So our Webpack configuration file will have three different environments: a development environment, a production environment, and a testing environment. Okay, so with all these three environments, there is definitely a lot of common things associated between all three. So we're going to first start off by building a Webpack common configuration file. So we're going to come in here, we're going to come to our config, and we're going to be creating a webpack.common.js file. And so I'm just going to quickly copy over some of these we'll be using. Webpack, our HTML Webpack plugin, which this will actually dynamically insert a script tag to our bundle, so we don't need to do that for us in our index.html file. An extract text plugin, which basically takes all our CSS and puts it into a different bundle. So when we load our application, we could load our JavaScript and CSS in parallel. So things will load a lot faster. In our helpers file here, which is just gives us access to a root function we'll be using to set up paths within our Webpack config file. So coming back to the Webpack common, let's come here and let's do module.export. Okay, the first things first, we need to create the entry where our Webpack will be creating our dependency graph by looking at those import statements. So we're going to have three entries. We're going to be entering from polyfills, vendor, and we're going to be entering through our Angular application, and that's going to be source/main. Okay, so now that we have all that in there, we've set up our three bundles. So next thing up, we're going to create a resolve. Okay, and we're going to resolve on extensions. Okay, so whenever Webpack looks at a file, it's going to first try to resolve it as either a TypeScript file or a JavaScript file. So that's why I didn't have to include it up here. Okay, so next up, we're going to be going into modules. So in the module, we will be having rules. And rules is how we set up loaders. So remember how I said earlier that we need to compile our TypeScript files into JS files. This is where I'll be setting up the logic to do that right here. So first things first, we're going to be testing for, where's backslash? There it is. .ts. So we're going to be testing for everything with a .ts extension. And if we find it, we're going to be, so Webpack reads these loaders in ascending order, so it reads it from bottom to top. So again, this is going to be the last loader that's going to run, is going to be the Babel loader. Okay, and after that, we will be running the awesome TypeScript loader. So this loader will actually convert our TypeScript into our ES6 target that we put in our tsconfig file, and then in options we're just going to tell it to the config file name will be, we're going to use our helpers function. Okay, so there we go. And then last but not least, we'll be having one more loader attached to this. So we will also have our Angular 2 template loader. So the Angular 2 template loader, to talk about all three and what's going on here, the Angular 2 template loader will inline all of our templates and styles that are on our components. Just to give you the visual example, right here, all these will be inlined. And we need this for building AOT builds, which I'll get into later. So first it does that, and then next the awesome TypeScript loader takes it from TypeScript, looks at our tsconfig file, which we tell it where to find it, and it loads it into ES6 code. And then we'll have a Babel loader do it next, and I'll get into a second why we have our Babel loader. So it's from bottom to top is how the loaders work. Okay. So after we have all those loaders run, the last thing we're going to do is exclude some files, because there's some files that we don't care about running through our TS loader, and that's going to be our node modules. Okay, awesome. So we did that. So let's come down here and let's add some more loaders. So I'm just going to copy and paste these right now to save some time. So we're going to be adding JavaScript loaders. So when we have JavaScript, we're going to run it through our Babel loader, and we have our presets to ES 2015. So now this is something very cool that I specifically use for my applications. So talking about browser compatibility, there's a bunch of different things, a bunch of different polyfills to worry about. You know, why worry about any of that? Why not just have something that already has standards set do it for you? And that's exactly what Babel loader with the presets ES 2015 does. So first things first, we're gonna have to come over here and create a Babel config file, which is called Babel RC. Oop, not RX, RC. Okay, and then in our Babel RC file, I'm just going to quickly copy over some boilerplate configurations. Okay, so what's going to be doing is just going to be looking at different polyfills that are already associated with this type of setup, and it's going to use the last two versions of every browser, and greater than or equal to Safari of version 7. And we're not going to use load modules again, because again, our TS config files are already loading modules for this through CommonJS. So we do that, then we don't need to worry about compatibility for browsers. So that's pretty cool. It saves us a lot of time and a lot of headache of trying to find the right polyfills ourselves. So we're going to do that. Awesome. So the next loader we'll be doing is an HTML loader. And this will basically just take our HTML and throw it through an HTML loader, which will encode into strings, then basically have it used as JavaScript that our Webpack will be able to recognize. So after we do that, I'm going to set up a loader real quick for our images and different types of files. So our file loader will basically take create paths. We'll take all of our images and load it, make it compatible with our bundle, and give us access to them through relative paths throughout our application that we set up through Webpack. Awesome. And then another loader we'll be doing is CSS. We will be having two loaders here. So, not there. Right here. Okay. So first loader we're going to do is put CSS through raw loader, which just loads it as strings. And then we're going to be using the extract text plugin, which I talked about briefly earlier, which takes all our CSS out of our app bundle and puts it in a separate bundle so we can load it in parallel with our application. Okay, awesome. So that about does it for all of our loaders. I think we pretty much covered everything here. Again, you could do stuff for like SCSS, for Pug, whatever you want to use. But again, this is boilerplate stuff. Typical things I see and I use, so we're just going to leave it here. Okay, so next thing we're getting into is plugins. So plugins are basically just extra functionality we're going to add so that Webpack can add to our application. So first things first, I'm going to add a context replacement plugin. It's just going to help alleviate some warnings that might arise. Okay, and then after that, I will be, so even though we gave 3 entry points for our application, Webpack isn't smart enough to see those and be like, oh, I need to split this out into 3 different bundles. Doesn't know. So we need to actually have a plugin give Webpack the ability to recognize, oh, hey, I need to separate this into 3 different bundles. So we're going to do that with, not that one. Webpack, Webpack, optimize. I'm just going to copy and paste it. Ugh, my typing is subpar today. Alright, so we're just going to copy and paste the Common Chunks plugin. So this basically lets Webpack identify, okay, we need 3 bundles to build. Okay, next, and we're going to just do the HTML Webpack plugin, which again I talked about earlier, and this will just dynamically insert the script tag referencing our bundle into index.html. And if you remember, we didn't create an index.html, so let's create it real quickly. Okay, and then let's just copy and paste some things over. Just gonna copy and paste some boilerplate things over. Okay, awesome. So got that in there and got a reference to my app, which if you remember was our app.component selector, as you can see right there. Awesome. Okay, so there we go. We have our Webpack common build out. Okay guys, let's go and create our Webpack dev config file. But before we do that, let's fix a couple little mistakes I made in the Webpack common file. A couple little typos. Again, this is not polyfills, it's polyfill. This is what I named the file. So change that to polyfill, and then let's come up here and I put it as rules. It's actually plural I put it as rule. Let's put it as plural as rules. Okay, awesome. So now let's come in here and then let's create our webpack.dev.js file. Okay, and I'm just going to copy over some stuff that's going to look very similar to our Webpack common configuration, but you'll notice that we have Webpack merge and a path to our exported common configuration. So let's start building it. Okay, so we're gonna use the Webpack merge on our common configuration. And we're gonna get some dev tools in there. So we're gonna use the cheap module eval source. And so basically what this is doing is this is making it easier for us to debug the big bundle that Webpack creates for us. Then we're gonna create our outpath configuration. So at the very least, for Webpack to work, you need an entry file and you need an output configuration. So let's set the path for it right now, and we're gonna set it as helpers.root dis. And so this is where the bundles will be exported to. It will be exported to the dist folder. We're going to set a public path for all our assets as just slash. We're going to do some file naming. Bundle.js. And we're going to set up some chunk file naming. Okay, so now we have all that, and we have the bare minimum to run a Webpack application. So let's go ahead and let's run it. So I'm going to bring my terminal up here. And if you haven't, I have it to gain access to the Webpack CLI, or you could run it through the bin folder in your node modules, or you could run it through a script in your package.json. But if you want to run it through the CLI, just run npm install webpack-g to install globally. I already did this, so I'm not going to do it again. And so once you've installed that, just run the command webpack. Oh, I must have spelled it wrong. Sorry about that, guys. Common config. Okay, and let's grab it back out here. Okay, so here we go. It's bundling, and there we go. So as you can see, we have 3 bundles here. The polyfill is that bundle.js, the app bundle.js, and we have we have a polyfills and a polyfill bundle.js. Probably because I forgot to change something in the common configuration. Let's go fix that now. Let's go to the common configuration, polyfill. Oh, we gotta change this to polyfill. There we go. Okay, and let's run it one more time. Okay, there we go. So here we go. We have our 3 bundles right here. Okay, and as you can see, we abstracted our vendor bundle, and again, I was talking about static assets, and look, that's 3 megabytes that we don't need to recompile every time we make changes to our code. Okay, awesome. So there you go. You can see it bundled, and then if we look into our folder structure, you will also see that a dist file has been created. And within our dist file is all the assets that we exported there, and then within our app.bundle.js, you will see kind of what it looks like. This is what the module bundles look like. And it's kind of this jumbled up, mess, and then it connects to all these different things here. Okay. So now let's go back to our dev configuration. Let's finish configuring it. So after the output here, the next thing we're gonna do is give it a dev server. So out of the box, Webpack provides us with the Webpack dev server that we can use to run our application. So we're gonna quickly configure it right here. And we're gonna set the history to true, and this lets us use HTML5 push state instead of the hash location strategy. And we're going to set the stats as minimal. Okay, so I got that there. So then next up is plugins. So these are plugins that are specific to the dev environment. So I'm just going to copy over a couple of things. Okay, and then just copy over one more thing. Okay. Okay, so the name modules plugins are what we're going to be using to help with our hot module replacement. The Webpack Define plugin defines global variables for us throughout our application. In this case, if we were using API on localhost 5000, this is how you would quickly set up the way to use this throughout your whole application, make it really easy to switch where your API calls are hitting when you're changing environments. And the extract text plugin, again, just basically is giving it the name of the CSS that it's abstracting from our app.bundle.js. Awesome. Okay, so there's our Webpack dev configuration finished. So now let's move on to our Webpack production configuration. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create another file called webpackprod.js. Okay, so in the prod.js, we're going to have, again, a very similar configuration. But we're going to now start setting up environments. So before we even get too far into this, let's start setting up the environments that we're going to need for this application. So we're going to do that in the package.json. So in the package.json, we have access to these scripts here. And through these scripts, we could set different environments through Node. Okay, so let's set a couple right now. So first one I'm going to set is going to be, I'm just going to add some configuration actually to this right here. So, oh no, it was already configured correctly. Just these are configuration things, and --hot enables hot module replacement for our dev server. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is create a Webpack dev, and it's going to run cross env, which is a way to set the node environment variable on Windows and other cross platforms. Node env equals development, and then we're going to run Webpack. Okay, and then we're going to basically have a Webpack prod, which is just going to run cross env node env equals production, and then we're also going to run Webpack after that as well. Okay, so there we go. We set up our environments here. Awesome. So now we're going to come back into our Webpack config file. Where's our Webpack config file? Oh, hold on. I got to readjust this. There it is. Okay, so when we come back into our Webpack config file, and we're going to change out how this is run. So now that we have set environment variables, we're going to come in here and we're going to go viral. So when you set the node env in the package.json, this is where it's stored. And we're going to see if it's equal to development. And trim to get rid of the white space. Okay, so if environment equals development, we're going to use the dev environment, and if not, we're going to be using the production environment. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so now that we have the environment set up, let's go back into our Webpack production. Okay. And then we're going to quickly set up the configuration with Webpack merge. And basically the same thing we did in Webpack dev with the common config. So in DevTools, we're just going to use source map instead of the cheap eval source map. And for output, we're going to be changing a lot about the outputs. We're going to still be. Actually, we're not changing anything about the output. Sorry to mislead you, folks. We're just going to use the same output configuration that we use for dev, and then plugins will be a little bit different. So plugins that will be specific to a production environment, things we would want to do is we would want to do like webpack.no emit on. We want a no emit on errors plugin for the production code, so we don't want that crashing. We would also want uglifier code and compress it down to make our module bundle even smaller. So we're going to do that by using the Uglify.js plugin, which will basically minify and compress. No, just, yeah, we'll uglify our code. Sorry about that. And then after we do that, we will be using the extract text plugin, which again will load our CSS in parallel to make it even faster. And then we will also, just to show you guys, we will also have a workaround right here. Okay, so there we go. There's our production environment set up. Awesome. And so now I'm just going to quickly, just to make sure everything's working, I'm going to put in here prod. Okay, so now let's run Webpack Production through our terminal. So we're going to run npm run Webpack prod. Oop, I must have spelled that wrong. Oh man, I butchered that one. Alright, there we go. Come back in here and let's run it. So you see now we're running in the prod folder. It takes a second to compile because again we are also uglifying it during the build process. Okay, and there we go. And as you can see, our bundle sizes are significantly smaller than they were previously, and this is very helpful for building very high-speed applications. Okay, so we have that done, and that completes our production setup. Okay, guys, now that we have built both our production and our development Webpack configuration files, I think it's time to just run the app and take a look at what it looks like. So before we move on to our test environment, let's do that. We're going to come into our package.json. As you can see, we already have the Webpack start configuration, have a bunch of config things on there, run with hot module reload, have the progress, open in the default browser, we're on port 8080. Awesome. All right, so then let's open up our terminal. And then let's quickly navigate to it, and then let's run npm run start. As you can see, it just opens up right here. It's loading. Oh, we got an error. App name did not match any element. Oh, okay. So, unfortunately, the joys of live coding does have some pitfalls. It looks like I did miss some naming up. So if we go to our index.html, I named it my app, which I believe in our app.component, it's actually app name. So let's go back to the index.html, change it to app name. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So now let's navigate back to our terminal, close it and rerun it. As you can see, it's loaded again. We wait for it to finish. Let's put this over here so we get split screen view. Let's open this up, and as you can see, boom, we have the hello from the Angular starter. Alright, and as you could also see in our console here, we can see we're running in development mode, and we also have hot module replacement enabled. So I know I talked about hot module replacement before, but let me really show you what it does. So if I come here and I just add in, let's say, hot module replacement rules, and I click, right when I click outside of focus, it reloads, or right when I click and lose focus and the application saves in my Visual Studio Code IDE, it automatically updates without any refresh. So this makes seeing your output extremely fast and just like makes development so much more enjoyable. All right, So now it's time to move on to the test environment. Let's get started. Okay, guys, now that we have created our Webpack production environment, we need to create a Webpack testing environment. So let's get started. So, as I kind of talked about earlier, we had to create a Karma config file, and we were going to build on that later. So we're going to start right now. So on the config, I'm going to create another Karma config file. Okay, and in here, I'm just going to quickly paste some boilerplate code and go over it real quickly. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to import our Webpack test file, which we're going to create in just a second. It's going to be using Jasmine, and here's the files, and the pattern it's going to be looking for preprocessors. Right here is going to be a Karma test shim, which we're going to create real quickly, and this is just to give it browser compatibility. Shim.js. Oh, excuse me. Karma-shim-js. Oh wow, I'm all over the place here. Karma test-shim.js. Okay, and then in here I'm just gonna paste a whole bunch of stuff that we'll be using as shims. Oop, not that. Okay, and just a whole bunch of things we will be using. Okay, so then back in here, in our Webpack middleware, stats errors only, Webpack server, no info. Okay, then in our reporters, we're going to be using progress to report our test, and it's going to be running on port 9876. So now that we have our configuration file set up, let's go ahead and let's actually add a test. So we're just going to add one test, and the test is just going to be testing to see if the tests are actually working. So we're going to come in here and we're going to create an app.component.spec.ts file. Then in here, I'm just going to basically copy and paste what our tests are going to be doing. And it's basically just going to be creating the configuration for the test environment for our Angular application, and we just be testing if it's working. Okay, so now we have all that there. Let's run our test. If we remember in our package.json, we had an npm run test script command. Run that. Oh, got something wrong. Did I forget to name it something? Let's take a look real quickly. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, I forgot to add the Webpack test. So let's add it real quickly. So webpack.test.js. I was getting ahead of myself there. Sorry about that. So in the Webpack, I'm just going to copy and paste it. So it's basically going to look a lot like other two files. Not much of a difference here. Just basically to set up the test environment of how to basically compile our TypeScript code and everything else. Okay, so now we have that. Let's run our test one more time. Okay, so while we're waiting, should open up a browser any second now. Once it compiles, there we go. We got it, and the test passed. So there we go. We have set up our testing environment that could easily be expanded for anything throughout our whole application. Awesome. Okay, guys, for the final part of our project setup, we'll be setting our Angular application to use the ahead of time compiler. Now, as of right now, it's using the just-in-time compiler, which compiles the code for every instance of the application running, which could slow down the performance of our application, and we don't want that. We want our app running at blazing fast speed. So there's a couple little tweaks we need to do to set up our Angular application to run with the ahead of time compiler. So let's dive right in. So first things first, I want to show you this list of Angular don'ts while building with the AOT compiler. So as you can see right here, we have a couple of them. Most importantly, the ones that we will need is we don't use require statements for your templates or styles. We have to use style URLs and template URLs. And that's where the Angular 2 template loader plugin that we already loaded in our package.json will help us out with. A couple of things with forms. Don't use default exports. Use public for any annotations. And yeah, okay. So now let's get started. Let's start building it. So first things first, the Angular AOT uses a different type of TypeScript compiler for this. So we will need to be giving a different TypeScript compiler configuration. So we're going to come in here, we're going to install a tsconfig-aot.json file. And so I'm just going to come here, I'm going to copy and paste the code we're going to be using for this and go over it. So again, we'll be targeting ES6. Not too much has changed here. Things that you see different is we now have this Angular compile options thing here, which will be running through the general directory of AOT folder, which is going to be generated when we run the Angular TypeScript AOT compiler. And we're going to set up, here's the entry module we'll be using. So as you can see, the file we'll be looking for is main.aot.ts. This is because the main.aot.ts is bootstrapping at module factory instead of main.ts, which is bootstrapping at module. So let's create our main.aots file. So we're going to come here, and we're going to do main.aot.ts. There we go. And I'm just going to quickly copy over the stuff we got to use for that. Okay, so there we go. And so just again, the big changes, we're using at module factory instead of at module. Another thing you can see is on line 6, we're enabling prod mode. So now if we're running the main.aot.ts, we know that we're running the application through production mode. And when Angular runs in development mode, words all jumbled up. When Angular runs in development mode, it runs actually 2 checks on it to see if any expression change after it was checked errors occur. And these take a little bit more time to run through the change detection through Angular. So running enable prod mode actually speeds up your application a whole bunch because it eliminates that second check. So we'll be enabling prod mode right there. Okay, awesome. So now we have to come into our Webpack common config, and we need to change a few things for our environment. So we're going to come in here. So in our app, so first things first, I'm going to define something right here. We're going to define a variable that we're going to use. We're going to do an isProd variable. It's going to look at process.env.nodeEnv. And it's going to check if it equals to production. So it's going to see if it's production or not. So we're going to come down here. We're going to be like, we're going to use a ternary operator. So if it is prod, we're going to run okay, so if it is prod, we're going to be running the main.aot.ts file. If it's not prod, we're going to be running the main file. Okay, main.ts, sorry. Okay, so now we're going to come down here, and we're also going to have to, no, I think that's pretty much all we need is to just change where we're bootstrapping the files from. So, but now we also need to come into our package.json and set up some scripts to run the AOT TypeScript compiler and configure the build. So let's add them real quickly. So first things first, we're going to have a build for it. So we're going to call build AOT, and build AOT is going to run the NGC compiler, which is the ahead of time compiler in production. And we're going to run it with tsconfig-aot.json. Okay, and then we're also going to have a build AOT prod, which will run npm run build AOT, and it will also run npm run webpack prod. Okay. And let's fix this right here. Okay, there we go. So we got all that in there. So now that we have that in there, let's run our AOT build. So let's pull up the terminal. And let's clear it out real quickly. Now let's run npm build AOT. What I call build-AOT-prod. Let's run that. Oh, I spelled build wrong. Sorry about that, guys. Prod. There we go. Okay. So now we're running the NGC compiler. And as you can see now, an AOT file has just appeared. And that's going to contain all of our AOT folders in here. Awesome. And then now we could see that we're also running the Webpack production config file. So it's basically going to take that and put that into the dist folder. So we're going to wait on that to compile. Okay, and there we go. And this is our ahead of time compiler build. So now everything will be available within our dist folder. So then all you have to do is point whatever server you're using to run the contents within this dist folder, and then you'll be running an ahead of time compiled Angular 4 application. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. Learning how to do this myself, I mean, it took, like a year, like a little bit over a year, I want to say, to learn it, just kind of doing it on my own and looking for information. I'm happy to help, and I really just don't want to see people suffering from the same pitfalls I had trying to learn, kind of what everything does and how to do this. So, thanks again for watching, and yeah, take care. Woo!